You destroy the European economy and agriculture. Europe becomes an open-air museum in terms of agriculture. Us Europeans are becoming poorer and poorer because of you. You are the face of the Migration Pact, and I'm talking to you as a woman to a woman, as a mother to a mother. How can you not be ashamed of promoting the Migration Pact, which means that millions of women and children in Europe feel endangered, threatened on the streets of their cities? You are responsible for every rape, every violent attack, every tragedy caused by illegal migrants, because you are inviting them to come to Europe. And for what you're doing, you should actually go to prison and not to the European Commission. Your presence as the President of the European Commission means a further collapse of the European Union. What do we think about your European Green Deal? This is what we think about this. This is what we think about the Migration Pact. You're not even looking at me. That's a shame. We want a Europe of free and sovereign nations, and not a sick leftist ideology. And all the soldiers that are defending the eastern border, deserve a bow, a very deep bow from you.
The EU has brazenly grown more and more dictatorial, despotic and totalitarian since its founding, in areas of lawmaking, farming, as well as environmental and social issues. The EU's latest and most brazen display of among its true purpose and agenda has come to light in the using of EU members' state taxes without their say or consent, in the funding of the Ukraine-Russian war, stoking conflict and loss of human life in place of striving for peace deals and diplomacy.
Billions of EU assistance going to Ukraine are not free, they're loans, which Ukraine will default on, and they come with neoliberal strings attached. If you listen to the economists, Ukraine is marked for a nightmare round of shock therapy, a sell-off of public land, deregulation of labour, sale of public assets, on it goes. The country's future is being sold to finance a proxy war that's tearing it apart. And of course the loans have preconditions that Ukraine must uphold democracy and rule of law, but since the tap was turned on, Zelensky has banned most opposition parties, shuttered the media, attacked trade unions and workers' rights, but the billions keep flowing. This is a country our Court of Auditors have said was a country accused of grand corruption. And on it goes while the EU policy seems designed to prevent peace and keep the war going at all costs as long as ordinary people pay. So between Russian tanks and European banks, there'll be little left of Ukraine when this is over. Don't forget, war is a racket and there's going to be hell to pay for this one.
The EU, through such actions of its political and business members and lobbyists, have proven themselves to be a clique of self-serving and profiteering despots with a facade of democracy. The political parties of Ireland, having fallen in lockstep with EU control, have gradually led to Ireland's international reputation as a safe, welcoming, healthy country to be tarnished and ruined, perhaps indefinitely. The deliberate attempt of late, as of 2021, to permanently alter the demographical landscape of the country through both legal immigration as well as through the international protection system is alarming proof of their unwavering commitment to EU control and dictates in the name of globalism. There is now also major risk of the Irish establishment losing ground in free trade and foreign direct investment due to changes in policy and attitude, both within the EU and from the US regarding offshore taxes, with no backup plan in place for cultivation of homegrown industry to take the place of foreign direct investment on a big enough scale to compensate taxes and revenue, as the EU continue to pressure the Irish establishment on the tax haven system, as explored earlier, it so heavily relies upon to fall in line with their rules and regulations, while the fear of the US and other territories lowering their corporate tax rate less than Ireland's always remaining a factor. What grounds exist for argument of Ireland to leave the EU? It's argued very little Irish sovereignty can be salvaged by leaving the EU, in fear of losing political cooperation at the EU level that would require to be replicated elsewhere in other international agreements, for a country as small as Ireland. There is also the argument that the cost of making such changes in order to maintain open trade and diplomacy with other countries outside of the EU would have its challenges. This is not altogether impossible if the outcome is to win and maintain state sovereignty, something arguably priceless and worth fighting for. The land border between North and South Ireland has become a weak link on illegal immigration post-Brexit. An obvious solution is a stricter policing on residency and deportation. Ireland has options to develop a bilateral security treaty with the UK if an exit from the EU were to happen. As of late, political parties and players, both in Ireland and Brussels, are pushing for Ireland to join NATO and sacrifice its neutrality and risk losing this opportunity of border control and sovereignty.